Hello, and welcome to the Nobody Asked Me podcast, where I give unsolicited advice, thoughts, opinions, and ideas, philosophies, concepts, whatever you may call it, simply because I feel called to. My name is Brittany, but I also go by Bree. I'm a divine messenger, a divine healer, a channeler, amongst many things. So you will receive from me various messages in various forms. But what I can tell you is that I've been sent by the Most High. I give all my messages with the purest intentions of love, light, and truth. Anytime you receive a message from me, it is rooted in truth and it is channeled from the Most High. Okay? With that being said, today's video is just simple. It's just an introduction. It's just so that you guys can get a feel for me to see if I resonate with your spirit. I want you to understand who I am gradually, but most importantly, I want you to understand what my intentions are. So I want to be very, very clear about that. Okay? Now, one of my core philosophies is that we are free to believe whatever it is we choose to believe without punishment. Not without consequence, but without punishment. Everything that we do, good, bad, and indifferent, has a consequence. Every action has a reaction. However, just because we choose a certain path, a certain lane, a certain belief, does not mean it comes with punishment, okay? Now, the most dominating and motivating factor that pulls me here is there were things that happened to me in my life that caused me to believe that I could be separated from God, that God would actually stop loving me. And I want to dispel that lie. I had to learn and I had to experience and I had to grow in order to understand how untrue that actually is. But I want to help others who may feel or believe the same things, that is actually not true. Now, God, as you know, or may understand him, her, it to be, is not playing some cruel game with our souls. Okay, I need you to understand that. God, as you understand him or her or it to be, is not playing some cruel game with our souls. We didn't incarnate here. We didn't choose to be here. We weren't brought here so that our souls could become at risk. Okay? The truth is that is a huge misconception. That is a huge misconception about why we are here and what the purpose of life is. And I know, at least in my experience and in my observation, that a lot of people have been unfortunately programmed to believe that our souls are at risk, and that's just not true. But what I will tell you, when it comes to anything that I say, anything that I teach, anything that I channel, don't be afraid to question source. Don't be afraid to go back to source. Don't be afraid to go back to God. Don't be afraid to seek an understanding. As a matter of fact, I encourage and empower you to do so, because that's how serious I am about what I say. Okay? All right. Now, why is this truth-telling mission so important to me? Well, again, because I've experienced the ramifications of not knowing my own personal power, not knowing my own personal freedoms, and not knowing how to utilize or even understand my gifts. I know how it feels to believe that you are unworthy of God's love. And because I've experienced that feeling, because I know that feeling all too well, it plays a huge role in my mission in dispelling a lot of lies and empowering people to develop their own connections with the Most High. Because of this, I feel the call to help others recognize their own power, to recognize their own personal freedoms. And I look at it kind of like it's my way of showing gratitude. It's my way of showing appreciation for everything that I've been able to learn and grow from and experience. And it's also my way of paying it forward. Not just keeping the information, not just keeping the experience, not just keeping the gift to myself, but actually sharing it with others. And, I recognize that I'm not for everybody, and that's okay with me. But I am most certainly here for the people that I am destined to help, the people that resonate with me, the people that feel that call to listen to me, the people who hear my voice and it helps them to keep going, keep pushing forward, to feel more empowered, and to understand themselves better. That is my intention and purpose. And I find it really funny because a lot of times they say the truth shall make you free, right? You hear that saying often, whatever. But the truth of the matter is that spiritual freedom and your right to choose what you believe is your birthright. So in a sense, I guess it is actually kind of true, But most importantly, what I want people to understand is that your connection to God, your connection to the Most High, your connection to Source, whatever it is that you identify with, is extremely personal and customized, okay? It's based on what you choose as a belief, but it is personal and customized, and it requires no acceptance or no validation by anybody else outside of yourself. I need you to get that in your spirit. It requires no acceptance or validation by anybody else outside of you. That's how powerful you are. And if that makes you uncomfortable, I suggest you continue to listen to me, baby, because you're not going to stay where you are. Now, I do have to offer a disclaimer. Some of the truths that I speak of, they may shake the foundation of what you already understand about God, what you've already learned, what you've already been programmed. And you'll hear me say that word programmed a lot. And I say that because we have been programmed to believe certain things, and we can continue to accept those beliefs, or we can reprogram and accept different beliefs. That's a different story. What I do want to say is that in the course of watching me, listening to me, following me, if you find that you are triggered by anything that I say, if anything that I say bothers you, before you hop in my comment section, before you get angry enough to attack me, I need you to ask yourself this one question, and I need you to answer this question very honestly. If you find yourself triggered, is it because you are scared that what I'm saying is true? Okay? If anything that I channel, that I give, that I teach is triggering you, if it rubs you wrong, just ask yourself, is it bothering you because you're scared that it's true? Okay? Now, I understand God, and I've had my own experience. So I understand God is so magnificent and so expansive that in most cases it is beyond the comprehension of our human brain. A lot of times, who God is, we can't begin to fully acknowledge, recognize, or see because of our own limitations to this human vessel. Our consciousness understands who God is, but our brains, our human brains, can be limited to logic, and I need you to keep that in mind. Everything that you know and understand about life, spirituality, God, is not just limited to logic. There are things that we see, experience that are so inexplicable, that are illogical, but yet they are very real. And so God is not just limited to our logic. So although logic is very important in balancing this human experience, try to keep an open mind. Okay. My experience, it fuels my passion to empower many souls as I can. Like, if I'm being honest, like, words couldn't begin to describe how strong I feel called to this space. And when I say this space, just to reach as many people as I possibly can. It doesn't matter which platform, it doesn't matter where I'm located, it doesn't really even matter what I'm doing, whether I'm at work, whether I'm in passing, whether I'm at home, recording on my phone, it does not matter. My passion The only thing you can do is feel it, because I can't put it into words. But I want people to understand who God is for themselves, and tap in to the true love of God, not the transactional nonsense that a lot of people have been taught, but understanding that God's love is truly unconditional. I am passionate about helping people. I have this saying that everything that you need is already inside of you. You just need to remember. And so my passion is to help people awaken or remember who they actually are. Who they actually are. And side note, let me tell y'all something real quick. Hold on. This book right here, go get it. It's called The Power of Awareness. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 blew me away. I literally wrote a poem about chapter 1. When y'all read it, let me know. Leave it in the comments, because I wanna teach on chapter 1. Chapter 1 is awesome. But chapter 1 talks about who the I am is, and it explains who I am is as it relates to who we are. And it's so powerful and so beautiful. I cannot wait. I'm getting tongue tied. Hold on, y'all. I honestly cannot wait to teach on chapter 1. But I want people to remember, that's really, really important to me. Remember their connection to God, and remember that as long as you are in existence, and you've always been in existence, that you are connected to the Most High. There is no way that you can be in existence and not be connected to the great I am. Read chapter 1, y'all. But ultimately, what I really want you guys to understand and know about me as we delve into the many teachings, philosophies, concepts, opinions, and advice is that I genuinely care. I genuinely care about the well-being, the growth, the awakening of the collective. And to be honest with you, I intend to make that obvious. So if you feel me, it's because I want you to feel me. Okay? All right. I am going to shed light on things. Like, for example, some of the things that I want to talk about is, like I mentioned earlier, about having consequences and reactions to every action. I want to talk about that as it relates to God not punishing us. I really feel like that is a huge misconception, and it creates a mental disconnect between the human and God. There is no disconnection, but you can form a belief that you are disconnected from God based on being punished, based on believing that God doesn't love you or doesn't like you or doesn't favor you. I want to dispel the belief that just because we have negative or extremely painful experiences, that it's a reflection of God's love for us or lack of love for us, right? I want to dispel that just because we go through a thing, just because something bad happens, just because something tragic happens to us, that it is a direct correlation of the favor or lack of favor that God has over us. When you truly understand who God is, you'll understand God does have favor over you. But ultimately, this channel is about me exposing the many truths and, just in a lighthearted way. I like to have fun. I can be a bit goofy. Okay, y'all. So I got cut off. Not sure what happened. But basically, what I was saying is, again, I plan to expose the many truths around why we are here, why we have the experiences that we have, so that we can better understand how to implement that information into our spiritual experience and our human experience as well. How we can implement that into our daily lives. So I look forward to learning, teaching, advising, and conversing and connecting with all of you. Our next official video, what we'll be talking about is And I guess I'll call this lesson one. I don't know. I may call it something else. But what we'll be working on is transmuting negative energies. And I say the term negative loosely because it helps us identify with what we experience. But transmuting experiences or energies that are very difficult for us to sit with. We're going to learn how to sit with them. We're going to learn how to own them. We're going to learn how to name them. But we're also going to learn how to make peace with those experiences. In order to transmute any negative energy, you have to be able to fully accept it and make peace with where you are. And so we'll be going over that in the next video. It's probably not going to be very long because this process, the way it works, for me, it's not long. But we'll see how it goes. But until next time, I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you watching me this far. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, comment, subscribe. Again, I look forward to connecting with you.